Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We're going to have a very NXT heavy show for you this week with NXT TakeOver in your house coming up this weekend and bunch of NXT angles getting progressed this week. So let's just kick off with that card for NXT TakeOver in your house. Match added last night for NXT, a 6-woman tag team match. The team of Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Knox. They ain't finished just yet with the team of Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah, we got, 3 feuds jam-packed in the middle of this feud?
Yeah, Mia Yim hates Candice LeRae, and both Knox and Blackheart hate Kai and Gonzalez, so yep. It makes a little bit of logical sense to jam them all together. If you don't have room in your house card, obviously, for everybody to have singles matches just yet.
Yeah, I think the villain team comes out on top in this match.
I hope they do. Just because of Dakota.
With your girl Dakota getting the pin.
I'm down. It seemed as though Dakota Knox was, winding down. It had finished up a little bit, and then Dakota started antagonizing Shotzi, and then Tegan comes out for the rescue and sort of reignites that feud. I don't know if it's a case of we don't know what to do with either of them, so we'll put them back together in a feud sort of thing. But I don't quite know. We've sort of just defaulted back to Knox and Kai. But one thing I do have to give good props to is the Mia Yim, Candice LeRae stuff that they've been pulling off, because Mia Yim and Keith Lee against both of the Garganos have been doing quite well. They've been cutting some good promos mocking the Garganos promo style, where they sit down and have dinner. But yeah, it's been good. This match does feel like a little bit of filler though. Just a little bit. We also have a singles match scheduled between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. The Archer of Infamy wants to go after the biggest man in NXT.
Yeah. I don't think the Archer's going to hit his mark on this one.
I think that might be fair.
Yeah. I'll be pleasantly shocked though, if he does beat Finn, who's a former, even though it was one day only, former world champion.
Yeah. I think Finn, although he's not involved in the NXT Championship stuff the most, he is still arguably the final boss of NXT. And the Archer of Infamy, I don't think, is ready to face the final boss just yet. He hasn't raised his level enough. He hasn't grinded on the low-level mobs enough. And he's going to find that he has to go back and train a little more before going after that final boss. We also have a couple of championship matches. We have the NXT North American Championship on the line. Keith Lee will be defending it against Johnny Gargano.
I want to say Keith Lee retains. My heart of hearts, I wanted to say that because I love Lee. And I don't think Gargano's the right guy to beat him. But I have a feeling that they're going to put the title back on Gargano. Okay. I don't like it, but I have a feeling that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I think the logical... Gargano has been killing it as well. This feud's been really awesome. But I'm with you on this. I think Keith Lee is the more logical, more deserving one to keep the title on rather than to swap it over to Gargano, you know. Gargano's got to get his comeuppance a couple times. And whether that's a loss here, maybe a win down the line, I don't know. I don't think he should win in their first sort of collision. But as you say, it's possible. It's highly possible. We also have the NXT Womens Championship on the line. Charlotte Flair coming on back down to defend it against both the woman who she took it off, Rhea Ripley, and the number one contender, Io Shirai, in a triple threat match.
Alright, I want to talk about this match in a second, but I want to say you missed an excellent opportunity to transition from Gargano to his best buddy, Ciampa.
Yeah, but I wanted to...
Because we haven't talked about that match.
I wanted to leave the murder till last.
Yeah, I think this match is going to end up being... I think it's going to be the match of the night, because all three women can go. I think Charlotte Flair retains by pinning or submitting Io. And that leaves Rhea still with a reason to still go after Charlotte.
Long-term wise, or I guess after this, do you think Charlotte Flair versus Rhea is the feud heading forward?
I think at some point they do it. They do a rematch, one-on-one. I'm not sure what Charlotte's next match would be, though, as champion. But I don't think now is the right time.
Yeah, I guess it...
To pull this trigger.
It all comes down to how long is Charlotte going to be on NXT. And the current world situation makes it really easy for the answer to that to be a long time. Because, all the shows are taped out of the same location. Everybody's there. Being on NXT doesn't mean she has to fly back to Tampa to do NXT and then fly out to do Raw or whatever she's going to do. They're just all there. So it's easy for her to be there longer than potentially if she was trying to do multiple shows while on the road, kind of thing. Do I think she'll still be in NXT as champion in July? Probably. Do I think August? Starting to run out? September? Ooh, I don't know if she'll make it that far. My preferred outcome here is that Io Shirai wins by pinning Charlotte. It won't happen, but it's my preferred outcome. Now we got the NXT Championship match. The Velveteen Dream taking one last shot at Adam Cole. If Dream loses, he can no longer challenge for the NXT Championship while Cole is still champion in a backlot brawl between the two. Possibly cinematic. Has not been confirmed, I don't think.
This should be interesting. Cole just passed a year as NXT champion. Velveteen is primed for a run. And I also think that it's probably time for Cole to mosey his own way onto the main roster.
Make a lateral move.
Yeah. I think this will be the end of the night, the end of the show, with Dream finally overcoming the odds and winning the title and celebrating with some of the faces.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
And the prophecy comes crashing down completely.
Yeah, it is the last step. We've been predicting the Undisputed Era fully crumbling and losing all of their gold for a little while now. This is the last step. And the question is this the night? Is this where it all comes crumbling down?
It almost has to be. Because at this point then, who's left? Who's left for Cole to face?
Karrion Kross.
If
See, I can still transition. I'll make my own segues. And I'll segue into that last match of the night, or last match of the card that we haven't talked about. And that is Tomasso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross.
I think this will be a good match. I think it'll go about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ciampa will fall to whatever Karrion Kross's finisher is.
He's got a few.
And then Ciampa will show up on Raw or SmackDown within the next couple weeks.
You're moving everybody. Ciampa goes to main roster. Adam Cole goes to main roster. We just had Matt Riddle go to main roster. We just had Dominic potentially going to the main roster. I don't know if that's been confirmed. I did not catch the news on that. But everybody go to the main roster.
We also had 30 people get fired back in March.
That's true.
So yeah, there's spots open for a lateral move.
Let's talk a little about those call-ups, because that's the end of NXT TakeOver in your house, but we're still in the NXT large segment piece of this show. Matt Riddle pops up on SmackDown, introduced by Kurt Angle, who was obviously the referee for that cage match they had on NXT last week. Through the dirt sheets, we know that Kurt Angle turned down a deal to be his manager, but he was at least there to introduce him on his first night. What are we going to see from Matt Riddle?
Yeah. The King of Bro is, I think, primed to do some big things in SmackDown. There are a lot of matches that I'd really like to see with him involved. Don't tell me that you wouldn't want to see Daniel Bryan versus Matt Riddle.
Oh no, that's up there.
So yeah, there's a lot of matches that can be done, and Riddle's really good. So I think it's all a question of his ego as to where he can reach. Because I think that's one thing that could stop him from getting to the top.
I'm trying to quickly find this. Because I know Matt Riddle, in the previous... I can't find it quick enough. I'm sorry I don't recognize the team name. But Matt Riddle used to be in a 4-man stable in the independent scenes with one Drew Gulak as another member of said stable. So I know people have mentioned whether it is pairings across the divides and stuff, or whether it's a team up or a combination of the lot, but some sort of Matt Riddle, Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan, and then people always throw Shorty G in there just to have a fourth man. But combinations of matches between those guys are pretty high up on the list of things to want.
Well, if the match that Riddle and Gulak had at Evolve is anything to go on, yeah, I want to see it again.
I don't know. I feel like they want Matt Riddle to go solo, so you're not really going to get the Bryan Gulak Riddle pairing. But it wouldn't shock me if they did go that sort of route. We do have the Intercontinental Championship stuff still resolving, and we've still got the Artist Collective to a point in terms of some of them rocking around. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see exactly what Matt Riddle's future holds for him.
But you know one person who does have a future we definitely know about?
Shoot.
Why, our theme song of the week.
That's a correct point. Let's play it. We'll talk about it afterwards. Let's just play it. No introduction. I'm not going to tell people whose it is. Well, I'm just going to hit the play button, and I'm going to hit that play button right. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and it is time to talk about Drake Maverick.
Culmination of a storyline last night. He failed to get the title, but got so much more in the process.
Was this a work the whole time? Were we worked?
I'm going to say shoot work.
Yeah.
Or work shoot, however you want to say.
We shoot ourselves into a work?
I think it was a shoot that was turned into a work.
So that's a lot of technical language there that, we just gibberished. Yeah. Basically, was he legitimately fired or not? And I think he was legitimately fired and then brought back.
Yeah. I think most of the talent WWE had plans of bringing back at some point anyway. Minus those that could get jobs elsewhere. Yeah. But, yeah, and I think Drake really struck a nerve with his video, and they realized they still had to use him some more. So they built the storyline into what he was doing, and he just got over and over and over to the point where it's like, well, let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and bring him back early.
Yeah, well, my favorite thing is that they're actually using Drake as a wrestler. They're letting the guy cut promos. They're letting him have a personality. He's not just a manager. He's not just the general manager of 205 Live. He's actually in the ring and doing what Spud does best.
And he'll do anything that they ask him. He'll take anything as an opportunity. And that's the kind of thing you have to be when you're on that totem pole of where he is. If they give you an opportunity, you run with it. You don't ask questions or anything. You just go and you give it everything you got. Yeah. And today, Drake Maverick is more over today than he would have been 3 years ago if they'd started like this.
Mm-hmm. It's been a rough ride. It's been a rough ride indeed. But one other thing to also note about this match, as you told me before recording, I am allowed to say that I was correct in a prediction, so I am definitely going to revel in that fact. Phantasma, interim cruiserweight champion, also leader of the Masked Luchadors, heavily hinted towards again. It's gonna happen. I'm right. I'm happy. Where does that go? I don't know. That's all I've got in that point. And if we're gonna shimmy over and talk about another potential lateral move, Dominik Dijakovic looks like he is setting his sights on Raw.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it. It sounds like he has a specific goal in mind too. Because it sounds like he wants Apollo Crews' United States Championship.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I feel like if I've always thought this way. I think Dominic's money. I think the guy's got it. He's super athletic. He's got the look, and when needed, he can talk. I think he's gonna have maybe not the world championship rocket strapped on, but he's gonna have a little sub-powered jetpack, and he's gonna get a little bit of a boost. But
yeah, I definitely think they'll feed him as a monster for a while, at least a monster face, if anything else, and then eventually he'll answer one of Apollo's open challenges and take the title from him.
Easy peasy. We've only got maybe like 6 minutes left in the show to talk about Raw and SmackDown stuff, so we're gonna skim around quickly and hop around all of the shows. Viking Raiders versus Street Profits went to a game of bowling.
Oh, such entertainment. And the Viking Raiders won by a single pin.
Yep. In a totally legal bowling maneuver. It was good poop. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the other word on radio, but what Vince McMahon said in the Firefly Funhouse match. Yeah, these guys are still just killing it on their random feuds, their random things. 2-2 in the series, heading into Backlash. We've still got 2 SmackDowns and a Raw, so if they're doing one thing, we don't know. We'll see. There's still time, but I imagine the tie will be broken heading into Backlash.
I don't think there will be another thing. I think the tiebreaker will be an actual match. That's true. And it'll happen at Backlash.
So we've got one more week then of feud, of build-up. Some sort of something. We had the Iconics pick up a win. That's all to say about that. Just, I wanted to mention it. Rey Mysterio and Dominic. This is going to really annoy me now because it's going to be two Dominics. If Dominik Dijakovic only comes in as Dijakovic, I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce Dijakovic properly. Rey Mysterio and Dominic seem to be feuding with Seth Rollins. Is this now how we're bringing in Dominic?
Who knows? At this point, I have no clue. But now that the Buckle Bomb's been banned, there really isn't many people you could bring in Dominic outside of his father that you could pair with and take care of and have a good match with as his first match.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Dominic was always going to be coming in, and I think now's probably the time. And just something of note, Rob Gronkowski has obviously, as you know, moved back to the NFL. So R-Truth had a quick little roll-up on the guy to steal back the 24/7 championship before it disappeared forever. And then moving on over to SmackDown, starting to run out of time, but I'm sure we can fit it on in. We opened up with Elias being hit by a car and then Jeff Hardy arrested afterwards, taking out two of the members of the Intercontinental Championship tournament. AJ Styles choosing to take the bye with his opponent being disappeared, while Daniel Bryan wanted a match, and they had a 10-man battle royal to determine who would be Daniel Bryan's opponent. A lot to unpack here.
So, question: who did it for AJ Styles?
I did it for the Raw. Rikishi. It's a combination. I think we won't know for sure just for a little while. Obviously, the two people that benefited from it were AJ Styles and Sheamus, who ended up winning the Battle Royal. People have been throwing around the name Baron Corbin. Dunno. I think it's a combination. I think somebody hit Elias, and that person is separate to the person who attacked Jeff Hardy. I think there's two assailants, but I don't quite know how it's going to play out just yet.
Yeah, it's definitely Jeff Hardy got set up. That's the only thing that I know for sure. I'm going to say that it was probably, I'm trying to think here. It's like there's somebody who AJ might have worked with when he was in New Japan that's still on the SmackDown roster.
Gotcha. Just like Drake Maverick, the whole thing was a swerve, and it's goddamn Carl Anderson again, ain't it? Yep, that's definitely what you meant.
No. I'm fine with not seeing the OC. Okada's coming over. I assume you mean Shinsuke Nakamura here. Yeah, why not?
We'll see what happens in the coming weeks and what is revealed. But the big thing was that Sheamus ended up winning that 10-man battle royal and then immediately losing to Daniel Bryan anyway. So I did get my Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan semi-final in the end in a long roundabout way, but then Sheamus lost it.
Yeah, I didn't even get a loss.
Yeah.
For
your guy just got hit by a car. I got 2 losses.
Nope. My guy got hit by a car. Your guy won a battle royal and then lost to technically the best wrestler in the company.
That's true. But it means that we do know the grand finals are going to be Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, with a whole lot of question marks floating around with Elias, with Jeff, with the attackers, stuff that may end up interfering in that match. But who do you have walking out the Intercontinental Champion?
I have a 95% chance of being AJ Styles.
Is that other 5% Daniel Bryan or something out of left field?
No, the other 5% is Daniel Bryan's overcoming the odds.
That is
in typical Daniel Bryan fashion.
Yeah, it's pretty on brand for Daniel Bryan. Wouldn't be too surprised. Can we give 0.001% chance to Sheamus? Somehow weaseling his way into the match and winning, because I want that. I don't think it's happening. Is there anything that I've missed in my quick skimming around that you want to mention this week? We got about 30 seconds left.
Nothing comes to mind.
Sweet. That is it. It's been great talking to you. You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling radio, and our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling radio. And we'll see you next week with the results from NXT TakeOver in your house and looking ahead at WWE Backlash.